back. It's Good News Planet speaking to Linda Murray. Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Paul?
Okay, good. You're editor-in-chief of BabyCenter.
Yes, I am.
Yay, we like BabyCenter.
Thank you.
Says the grandpa.
Oh, you sound too young to be a grandpa.
No, I'm not. I have 2 grandchildren, and I'm loving it.
Great.
That's all I can say. It's just a beautiful thing. I'm looking at your site right now, BabyCenter.com. I mean, you have a ton of it, mother and baby and horoscopes.
We've got everything. We are the leading destination online for new and expectant parents. 78% of all moms in the U.S. visit BabyCenter, and we walk them through their pregnancies and the first few years of their baby's lives and help them with every new challenge and new wonderful thing they're going to experience on that journey.
And it's a beautiful journey. It's the greatest.
It is.
Now look at all these things. Due date calculator, ovulation calendar. You have a lot of calendars now, development calendar.
Yeah.
There actually is a lot that goes into having a child, isn't there?
It is. And, you know, for someone who's newly pregnant, the number one question they have is, when is my baby due? That's one of our most popular tools, the due date calculator. The ovulation calculator is for our moms-to-be who want to get pregnant, and we try to help them figure out what are the best times of the month to do that.
Okay. I must be reading this wrong, but maybe I'm not. No, I think I'm reading it right. Chinese gender predictor?
There is a Chinese gender predictor. We have 22 sites around the world, and we developed that with our site in China. And it's, there's not a lot of science behind it, I'll be honest with you, but a lot of Chinese tradition behind that calendar. And it's supposed to help you predict whether you're having a boy or a girl. And it's 50% right every time.
All right. Now we're going to talk about, exciting stuff. We're going to talk about your kid's name is what, and when did people begin naming children after vampires? Okay, so I don't know, when did they start doing that?
Naming children after vampires? We saw that starting last year, as the movies became a hit and parents got those names into their heads. Isabella is the number 2 name on our girls list this year. That was definitely a vampire character, Bella. But parents are very influenced by pop culture. You know, they don't like to own up to it. They don't like to say, I heard the name on TV and I love the name. But, people on TV are like household figures for us, and we can't help but be influenced by the names we hear regularly.
Mm-hmm. Well, my daughter's a Jennifer, and there was Jennifer O'Neill and a lot of Jennifers out at that time.
Right.
And that was a popular name for a long time. Are you saying Bella is a popular name, right?
It is. Isabella is number 2 on our list, and Bella is a common nickname for that. Sophia is the number 1 girl's name this year, and Sofia Vergara had a big year this year. She's an actress. But we also see some Hispanic influence there. 25% of all births in the U.S. are to Hispanic families, and Sophia with an F really has its origins in Hispanic culture.
Naming a child, I agree, is a very huge decision. I know when my daughter was born, it was very windy. We considered the name Windy that night. What do you think about how many people decide prior to the actual birth?
A good percentage of moms today, about 25% of them decided long before birth. They've been carrying a beloved name around with them since high school. But most moms really narrow down to and dads narrow down to just 1 or 2 names by the end of their pregnancy. Most people don't reveal that name. They don't want to hear what you think about the name before the baby's there. Some do, and they do get some criticism. But most parents going into their birth, have a good idea of at least 1 or 2 names that they're going to name that baby.
Now, in my time, the tradition was to name the baby after somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that might have passed, and might not have, but more than likely probably had. Is that still prevalent?
Yeah, that's a trend we've definitely seen go away. And that's why you see some of these more unusual names on the list. These were not names people were using 20 or 30 years ago, where we were much more likely to choose from our family names or choose names from the Bible, and people just weren't as creative with baby naming. But today's parents really want their kids to be unique, and they know their children are unique. Every baby is one of a kind, and they're looking for names that really reflect that, and they're much more creative, even making up their own names at times.
Uh-huh. I don't like that.
Well,
my grandson's named after my dad or whatever. But I don't know, really.
Noah is on our top 10 list this year as a boy's name, so that's come back. But you're entitled to your opinion, and everybody has an opinion on baby naming. And the important thing for parents is they really choose a name they love. They're going to have to be using it for the rest of their lives. And then the good news is most parents end up loving the name. You know, less than 3% regret what name they've given their child.
I just saw something here. 7 reasons why your child loves you.
Yes.
Wow, that's a nice story.
It is a nice story. We know we love our kids, but sometimes hard to tell when they're very young. And it's very sweet things like, you know, they bring you a rock. You know, that's a sign of love when you're a little child.
I try to do that at this age.
Honey,
get away with it.
Well, not that kind of rock, you know.
No.
Not the jewelry store rock. Right.
Oh boy, it's a lot of fun. Isn't life a lot of fun?
Yes, it is.
And isn't new life a lot of fun?
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And I think that, what are some suggestions you have for like a new parent?
With choosing their baby name?
Well, let's just say with having a baby.
Oh, I try to say don't worry so much, which is, I have to tell myself that sometimes. I have an 8-year-old now. You know, kids, they don't need much. They need your love. They need a place to sleep. They need food, and you need to change their diaper. Don't worry about getting them into college. Don't worry about, you know, how fast they're developing. You know, the kids are going to do just fine. I really try to tell moms to relax a little bit.
And also in the process of that, I agree with you. Don't they say that the second child is much easier than the first?
Yes, every parent tells us that. I think because once you've survived it, and we really hear that at the first birthdays, moms kind of celebrate themselves for having survived the first year. You're worried about keeping the baby alive in those early weeks and months. And you know, once you've done that already for a child, and you realize that, you know, what's really important to kids, and you're more confident as a parent, the second child is easier.
Okay, but the reality of having a child is really, you need to be very, very, I think, quite serious about it, right?
Absolutely.
Because that baby is really relying on you for everything.
Yep.
For a long time. In my case, until I was 60. My mother. But the point is,
we all need our parents.
We sure do, and they are inspirational, and they have a tremendous, effect on our lives.
It's true.
And it's all good. Tell me a little more about BabyCenter.
So BabyCenter is a website. We have over 10,000 articles. They're medically reviewed by doctors to really help walk moms through their pregnancy in the first few years of life. We have an incredibly vibrant community of moms who really talk about, you know, what challenges they have as parents, and they get help from each other. We hook them up into birth clubs. They'll tell us what their due date is or their child's birthday, and we hook them up right away with people who have kids the same age. It's this great environment for sharing. Unlike Facebook, where everybody's just having fun and keeping each other up to date, we have real supportive conversation going on BabyCenter. And then we have 22 sites around the world, and so we're helping moms in 22 different countries raise their kids, and really trying to stay culturally relevant to them in those places, because medical systems are different and traditions are different. But BabyCenter is doing very well in those places. And
this I do know, and I know my daughter uses it, and her friends, and it's a great asset for young people. It's really good. And how about for grandparents? Is it a good place to go as well?
It's a great thing for grandparents. We hear from grandparents all the time, because one of the things we do is we walk people through their pregnancy and their child's life week by week. You know, week 17, this is what's happening with your pregnancy. This is how your body's changing. And it's a great way for grandparents to keep up, especially if they don't live near the child, and really experience the pregnancy with them. I hear from grandmothers all the time saying, I wish I knew this when I was having a baby, that my child was changing this way. So it's a great resource for grandparents.
When you walk them through, how does that happen?
We send an email every week. You tell us what your due date is, and we can personalize that to you. And we can say, it's 10 weeks in your pregnancy, and here's how your baby's developing. Their heart's starting to beat now, and here's how your body's changing. You may start to feel better because your morning sickness is going away. And here's what doctor's appointments are coming up. You know, you're going to have an ultrasound in a few weeks. And we talk to parents week by week on how their life is changing as a parent.
Oh, boy, that's reassuring. This is marvelous.
It is. It's fantastic.
That is a good one, because there's nothing worse than having, some kind of either fear or just some kind of tension. Tension is the worst thing anybody wants to have. Anybody wants to have, or anybody should ever have, right?
That's so true.
You have toxins in your body, and you don't want to pass along toxins to your baby to begin with.
It's so true.
It's got to be calm and cool. I like your attitude. All right, last question. What's good news for you?
What's good news for me? What do you mean? In what way?
In any sense of your life.
Work,
personal, Let me
I have no complaints. I have a healthy, happy family. Work is going well. My daughter is 8, and she just continues to be the light of my life. And you know, in the early months, you're tracking every milestone, and now I feel like there's still milestones. You know, she's learned to play the trumpet this year, and it's just everything is a joy.
Fantastic. All right, happy and healthy holiday season, and thank you very much, Linda, for sharing good news with us.
Thank you. For you too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.